Nikki was one of the coolest kids in the school, coolest kids in the town, because she really didn't care what you looked like, who you were. She was friendly and outgoing and kind of took care of everybody's problems. She was different because she cared about everybody, not just herself.
She was so beautiful. She had a great personality. She was just always hardworking.
Not only was she friendly to everybody, but Nikki was really beautiful inside and out. Her personality was awesome. She had the biggest heart in the world, and she would help anybody. My name is Mike Kellenyi, and I'm Nikki's father. One thing I miss about Nikki is hugs. We used to do a lot of hugging. That was kind of the way we showed each other our love, and there were some big hugs, some bear hugs, and I really miss that a lot. Nikki was one of the most beautiful kids that I've ever known, and not only because of my dad. She was really cool, beautiful, outgoing. She wasn't outgoing all the time. It was only when she was around her friends. Around us, she was just a little quiet little kid. She was like the most caring young kid I've ever known. She's just amazing the way she was. She just liked everybody, took care of people, and just wanted to be different and not fit in the crowd.
My name is Taylor Petner. Nikki Kellenyi was one of my best friends, and I was the passenger in the accident. One thing I miss about Nikki is her friendship. She was such a good friend. She never judged you. She always looked out for you. She was just always that one person you could always go to.
April 14th was a Saturday. It started out to be a pretty good day. It was the first time that Nikki and I had breakfast together in months and months and months. It was pretty funny because Nikki's breakfast consisted of a glass of chocolate milk and drinking it with a spoon. She thought that was her healthy way of eating. The day went on just like a normal day, just like anything else. The first time we really had an hour and a half of just good family time, which hasn't happened in a long time. And then Nikki went out. Gina and I were sitting home. Kristen was home too. And I was downstairs racing on the computer and having a good time, and Gina started yelling to me because Nikki wasn't answering the phone. And I just yelled back up at her that, hey, you're a nut, don't worry about it. You know, the phone's probably dead, it's not a big deal. And then she heard a helicopter go across, or, we could hear the helicopter go across. So Gina started panicking, yelling down, there's a helicopter, I said, you're a nut, don't stop worrying, she's fine, she's fine. So we still didn't hear from her, so I came up from racing, and we were trying to get her on the phone. We couldn't get her, and all of a sudden, I think it was around 11:45, the phone on the wall rang, the house phone, and my heart dropped because that phone doesn't ring.
We got lost. We turned around, and I was on my phone. Why? Because we were lost. They were trying to figure out where we were going. I was just on my phone, and it all of a sudden got really bright, and I look up, and the headlights were right in front of my face, and all I remember is just screaming, watch out.
So we hopped in the truck, drove down to the thing. I put my top lights on. I have an emergency vehicle, but the cops stopped me. They wouldn't let me get down there again, and they finally told us to go to Cooper Medical because that's where everybody was taken to. And from there, that's where we found out that she was gonna, well, we didn't know what was gonna happen, but later on that evening, on the 15th at 2:30 in the morning, she was pronounced dead. When I found out Nikki passed away, well, first we weren't sure if it was Nikki because they came out and they asked if I could go identify her. We kind of had a good idea it was her, but we weren't sure. So I went in, my wife stayed out, and that's the image that's in my brain every night I go to sleep is Nikki laying there on a gurney, beautiful. She looked fine, didn't even look like anything was wrong, and she was still warm, but they wouldn't take out the tube in her mouth. So that's when I go to sleep. That's what I think of every night of her laying there with a tube. It's almost like a nightmare. That's why I don't like to sleep. It was pretty hard identifying her because she's dead. And once death is there, there's no coming back.
My reaction from the accident was that I couldn't believe that I was in the car. I can't believe that I survived something that tragic. At first, I couldn't drive down that road for months, a couple months. I was too scared to go there because it just brings back bad memories of, losing someone that's so close to you.
My first reaction when I saw the crash site for the first time and saw all the skid marks and everything is that I just couldn't believe it happened. It's such a wide open area. There's so much sight distance. There's no way this accident should have happened. That's what ran through my mind is that it just shouldn't have happened. What I found out about the accident was that there was three girls in a car, and they were out having a good time like every other teenager does. And they were looking for a place to go. It wasn't even really a party, it was just a place to go. And they were kind of lost trying to find out where they were going. And when they turned around at the one intersection, the driver just kind of didn't see any of the stop signs, didn't stop, and pulled in front of a pickup truck. The pickup truck ran right into the spot where my daughter was sitting and didn't kill her instantly. When she hit, Nikki was in the seatbelt, so she kind of got crushed into that seat. The car spun. The passenger got ejected through about 70, 80 feet in the air.
I sustained a lot of injuries from this accident. I flew through the passenger door window. I cracked the left side of my skull. I broke my orbital bone above my eye. Surprisingly, I only had 3 stitches, which is actually a miracle.
The paramedics would spend the next 45 minutes to an hour working on the passenger and Nikki, and Nikki was alive that whole time. She didn't pass till they pulled her out of the car for the first time, and that's when she died the first time. In the next half hour before the helicopter took her off, she would pass 2 or 3 more times, but she was a fighter. I don't think she wanted to go. I think Nikki wanted to stay with us. And finally they got her in a helicopter and it took off, meaning that she was still alive. The paramedics told me that she died 2 more times on the way to the hospital. She came back to life. And then when they brought her in to operate, they operated for almost 2.5 hours trying to keep her alive. When they did finally come out to have us identify her, every one of them was in tears. The doctors and nurses, they knew she was a fighter and she was trying to stay. The driver herself sent out a lot of texts that day, over 1,500 of them. And in the little drive for a half hour that they were together, somewhere around a half hour, we don't really know because it's all from witnesses, but there was over 30 texts sent back and forth. In the middle of the crash, there was 4 texts sent. 1 went to a voicemail for 6 minutes of the accident. So we know distracted driving was the reason, and that's why we're trying to prevent that from happening to anybody else. My first reaction was anger. A lot of just straight out anger because it shouldn't have happened. If you had paid attention, or if the driver had paid attention, this accident wouldn't have happened. So it was 100% preventable. That's what the sad thing is this was just preventable.
After Nikki passed away, the community came together as like a whole big family. They did a walk around the football field, everyone wearing purple. They did fundraisers, anything they could just to, support their family.
This community came together like I've never seen it before. Didn't even know there was this much of a community in this town. The very next night we held a little vigil at the spot, and I think about 1,000 people showed up. It was amazing. It was the first time I had spoken in front of a crowd like that, but it felt good to speak about Nikki, and it just felt good that we had that many people in this town supporting us. Over the next 6 months, a year, we have had just a total outcry of support from everybody. This town is amazing that there was that much support to us. Everybody wants to help, which is good. We need that. We need a lot of help. We need a lot of prayers. PAD is a nonprofit organization, and it stands for People Against Distracted Driving. One day my wife and I were standing over top of Nikki's grave and of course crying and just trying to figure out what happened, trying to put it all together, and we just thought of all the other people in our situation that were struggling to get through, struggling to get by, and we decided to start something up. My wife actually said People Against Distracted Driving. I thought it was a great idea. It's a charity that really takes distracted driving to a different level. We want to make it more personal. We're trying to make it a little more personal, where a lot of kids think that 17 people die a day. They don't realize that 17 of their classmates, 17 of their friends, 17 of their daughters or sisters. Many of the other organizations look at facts. We want to look at the personal lives, the personal dangers, the personal feelings that happen from distracted driving and what it causes to families. What I want to tell you about distracted driving is the main thing is a decision that each driver makes, whether you're young or old. And it's not just teenagers, even though now it is the leading cause of death among teens in America. When you get in a car, you have a choice. You either drive responsible or you don't drive responsible. And if you decide to text, tweet, check your emails, send out emails, anything like that, it's your choice. You're making a decision to drive distracted. And you're only lucky that you're not killing somebody. If you get through the day and you don't kill somebody, it's luck, it's not skill. I think a lot of people think it's skill, but it's not. It's just luck. Pat has evolved into being one of the most searched, most looked up charities on the internet. It went from being a small little idea to a national idea, and changing all of our goals to be national. We have tractors with Nikki's image on the back of them and our Stay Alive, Don't Text and Drive sign on that truck. And then we have over 150, maybe even more now, I think it's more signs all over the United States. And we're in 13 states, Canada and Europe too, and we're going to Australia next. That's our next stop. So we're looking at this to be a worldwide ending to distracted driving. And it would be pretty cool if, even though I'd rather have Nikki here, but if her face stopped distracted driving and she was the image that stopped people from doing it, it would give us something to go to sleep on.
I think everyone's going to know about it. It's going to be a nationwide. It's going to help a lot of people. I think it's going to save a lot of lives and, help a lot of families that have to go through the same thing that, we had to go through and Nikki's family had to go through.
Where I see Pat in 10 years is helping to end distracted driving. Although it's going to be hard to end it altogether, I see us being the MAD of the 2000s, where we're the ones you come to for information, to help stop, to help end it, and to be one of the most powerful organizations out there. Coming up on Nikki's 2-year anniversary is really sad, but it's good that her memory is being kept alive by Pat and through Nikki's Foundation. I think that each year is going to get harder and harder, where most people think that it gets easier and easier, because every day that goes by, we struggle more as we watch everybody grow up, all our friends grow up and have good times and get married and have kids, where we know that Nikki should be with them every day. So each year is going to get harder. So the second year has been harder than the first, and we're not looking forward to the third year.
Having someone close to you die is the worst feeling ever. It never gets easier. You don't have that one person that you could just call and talk to about anything. I just really miss her.
If I could say one last thing to Nikki one more time, is just that I love you. I mean, we did say that when she left that night, but I'd like to say it again. And just one thing a parent always wants to tell their kid is, I love you, and get one last hug. You need to hug your kids, and I wish I could do it again.
There's so many things that I would want to say to Nikki if she was still here. One thing is that I love her and that she's such a good friend, and glad that I met her. She's changed my life forever.
The feeling I get from Nikki's impact is one of, I guess you'd call it, it's a peaceful feeling, knowing that Nikki's helping other people and she's saving lives around the country by us telling her story. It doesn't ease the pain at all, but it definitely helps to know that she's making a difference in this world. I'm really proud to be Nikki's father. I think that being her father and being lucky enough to tell her story makes me the luckiest of the unlucky, because not many parents that lose their child, especially to distracted driving, get the chance to help other people and save lives through their daughter's story. And that's all we want to do, is have Nikki's story impact everyone and hopefully save a lot of lives. In Nikki's case, and in just about everyone that has ever lost a child to distracted driving, or in any sense, it's like when you lose your parents, you've lost your past. When you lose your child, you've lost your future. And that's kind of how we feel, and we hope that we keep everybody else's future safe through Nikki's story.